If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Similarly, does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. This is episode 111, and I'm tickled pink. We've had lots of great guests on this show, and this is going to be one of them. I'm so excited to speak. I chatted with them for a minute before we got online, but I'm super, super excited for this show. Nico is in the house. Amanda Moore, what's going on? Crambone, Mike Ruther, hello. Have I gotten Popeyes lately? No. Sadly, I'm trying to cut back. Jeff Skyer's in the house. What's going on, everybody? All right. I'm bringing in my first co-host. He is the man with the... Oh, he doesn't have a golden mask. Typically, he's the man with the golden mask. He still is the resident doctor of Straight Up 5. I'm a little confused by what I'm seeing in my window here. Dr. Ocho, you got a new mask, bro?
No.
I haven't seen that mask since, the group formerly known as the Grapplers.
They're not formally known. They're still known.
The Americanos or whatever.
They never die. They never die. And no, I'm a good guy.
Unfortunately, you're right. They never do.
Good guys wear white. I'm the good guy now. That's why Amanda DM'd me and said, why don't you just tone it down a little bit? You're such a hot guy. Just tone it down a little bit. And maybe, and I was like, you're right, Amanda. That was nice of you. And I appreciate that. She gave me life advice.
I like your name tag there. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. We'll get into that. That's good stuff. All right, let's bring in the man with the name of the marquee. He is the star of the show. He is the sexiest man in the world. Looks like he just got a nice clean shave from Georgie. Let's bring in Johnny Petraglia Jr. What's going on, JP?
Another day in paradise. I did not get a fresh dew from Georgie. I'm due for one, as you guys can see. But
you're manscaped. Good job, buddy.
Oh, I trimmed the neck. I left a little bit of the 5 o'clock shadow since it's been nonstop rain and hail here in good old New Jersey for the last 4 days.
Yeah, here too.
Looking forward to the spring months. And fuck Punxsutawney Phil, because he was definitely wrong.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Big time wrong.
I must have
dropped him again.
I must have missed the name tag memo because you guys.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Happy birthday, Nicole. Oh.
We have a secret chat. We have a secret chat, Rob. Without you, it's everybody that's been a guest. And
I gotta be honest. If
you.
there was one person I didn't expect to not be rocking the Price is Right name tag today, it's you, Rob.
Yeah, I was bogged down with invoices, for
invoices,
for end of
Harley's,
month,
man.
and I just couldn't get it done. But,
Frank Cozies.
I love
invoices. Invoices. You get an invoice. You get an invoice. You get an invoice. You get an invoice.
How about without further ado, why don't you play our little highlight package for our awesome guest tonight?
I do have a highlight package of our very special guest. Here are the highlights from DeeRonn Booker.
DeeRonn Booker, Omke Anweaunde.
DeeRonn,
550.
550. Jessica,
899.
899. And the actual retail price is $834. With DeeRonn, it's you, buddy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you. Yeah, glad you don't let your guns fall off. People won't know who we are. You're going to be so excited today. Get ready, Rich.
DeeRonn, how about a new car?
Start with the first one right here. Let's see. Oh my gosh. That hurts. DeeRonn had the worst luck in gas money. You want to say hi to anybody?
I'd like to say hi to my dad and my crew over there. Crew bowling crew.
Just pulled the 300 game in real life. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Stop. DeeRonn's got $1. DeeRonn's got $1. Perfect score for DeeRonn. Way to go.
This showcase can be yours if the price is right.
All right, DeeRonn.
$1.
$1. All right, welcome back to The Price is Right, DeeRonn. We're going to start with you. A washer and dryer, which you couldn't really see. Refrigerator, couldn't really see. Dishwasher, couldn't really see. And a Ford Flex. That was backwards. We did $1. Actual retail price, $33,338. You're only off by $33,337. The reason you bid $1, Deborah, is because he thinks you're over. You had a trip to the Mediterranean, and you went crazy. And you bid 46, bedroom and mattress, a range, all right, and then Mediterranean, you just went nuts.
I did.
You bid 46,000. Actual retail price, hang on to your seat, folks, it's only $21,429. I'm sorry, Deborah. DeeRonn, you're the winner, buddy. Congratulations. Congratulations. DeeRonn, $35,172 worth of prizes today. Here, go see your friends, man. Want to have a special thank you to Kathy Kinney. Thanks, Kathy. Go to mrsp.com. You see Kathy Kinney reading stories to your kids. mrsp.com. Don't forget to spay new to your pets, folks. See you next time on Price is Right. Happy April Fools. Bye-bye.
that matters.
Hit it, drops it, 2 pins away from his first tour title.
What a performance. Incredible.
Stayed clean, 9 spares and strikes only this entire game for Booker.
For the Masters, he's got it!
History on Fox.
Again. You can see the eyes right now. King Booker trying to keep it tight, but it is tough. Look at that smile. It is beautiful. Dombrowski, what a run here. Hope to see much more of him on the back half of the PBA Tour, but DeeRonn Booker is the story. Had it all along. The price was right for DeeRonn Booker. 40-pin win for DeeRonn Booker in the title match. Let it out, man. Let it out. We saw that smile before the match started. It kind of went away, and his first ever title here in Vegas.
More history on Fox, man. And you and I have, we've done this for quite some time. And it just seems like we're always part of great history on the PBA Tour.
I never tire of things like this. And
This moment means I can continue to do this. I can continue to inspire. I can continue to coach. I can continue to drill balls. I can continue to do everything that I want to do for everyone else. That's just my big thing. I understand what it is that I need to do, but there are people out there that need the help, that want that inspiration. And with that win today, that win is going to help inspire them. And so I'm telling everybody, like, let's go. I will help you. I will help you get to where you want to be, because you can see what I did is working out pretty well.
All right, everybody, let's bring him in, the man of the hour. I got chills watching that win again.
Good, man.
Here is your 2024 USBC Masters champion, DeeRonn Booker. Good evening, DeeRonn. Thanks for being here, brother.
Oh, man, I watched that, and yeah, I don't think it'll ever get old, to be honest, you guys. Thank you, first and foremost, for having me on here. This is great. You guys were the very first ones to reach out, and I'm here. This is great. I'm so excited.
We're excited as well. Johnny, kick it off, brother. You know this man from years ago. Go ahead, bud. It's all yours.
I mean, obviously, you've gotten a million of these already, but congratulations from everybody here on your astounding, amazing, and absolutely epic win. And I'm sure there's going to be many, many more to come. But going back to what Rob said, yeah, D, I've had the pleasure of once I moved out to Vegas, I've had the pleasure of spending a good amount of time with you on and off the lanes, and we've always had a very nice, very good relationship. At least I think so. But let's just jump right into it. Walk us through, aside from your physical talent, where we're all fully aware now, the entire world is fully aware of your physical talent. The Masters is such a hard tournament to win because you have to win it so many times. And unlike last year, where Martel would have had to beat Simon twice in the title match, this year went back to the regular format where it was one game for the title, which means had you have lost, you would have been the only person in the tournament with one loss, which I've never been a fan of. However, I want you to walk us through mentally the whole process from start to finish. When did it all start to feel real? Like, this is happening right now. Just like kind of give us the true take on what was going on.
Oh yeah. I can definitely, let me just start off with, I was out bowling the PTQs last year, and they didn't go very well. I didn't see them correctly. I didn't see the lanes correctly. My thought process was a little bit different than what it should have been. So it was a little bit of a struggle. And some tournaments during that time, USBC tournaments in general, I always struggled at them. I didn't look at the lane for what it was. I took a lot from what other people told me, and I didn't let my instincts and what I've worked so hard to achieve be my guide to success out there bowling. And so after I left from national tour, I wasn't upset. I went back to work and I talked to everyone there, and I said, I'm not mad. I said, I learned 5 years worth of knowledge out there bowling, between bowling balls and drilling and lane play and physical game, that I did in the entire time being out in New Mexico in the shop in 6 years. And so I learned so much in such a little bit of time, and I was able to take that back. And the very first tournament that I bowled outside of the national tour was nationals. And I was just like, okay, you know, me and nationals go way back, and we always had fighting words. And so this time I said, you know what, let me pay attention. Let my skills do what it is that I need them to do to allow me to have some success. And being out there bowling against the ultimate best bowlers in the world, you have to be sharp, both mentally and emotionally. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. And so I got my emotions back in check. It's just really tough going out there and saying, oh, I'm good enough, and not seeing a penny next to your name. It does hit you a little bit emotionally, I will tell you that. But like you said, moving on to nationals and seeing some success and having that be truly, I thought that was the longest waiting period of my life, those 48 hours to make sure, hey, you got this win, to what happened a couple days ago. But, moving forward, my thought process going into the national tour this year was, okay, take what you learned. I talked to Steve Klemkin from Storm. He suggested a couple of layouts. I was practicing, working on different things, trying to roll the ball more, just things that you would do to try to better your game going out on the national tour. And starting off the tour with the PBA World, it was the Players Championship. My equipment never made it until the morning before. And so, that's a great way to start. But I was able to get my equipment in to start, and bowled well, missed by 11. And I was a little upset. And I said, man, don't let this happen again. Don't let this happen again. And so everyone kind of talked me down a little bit, and they said, like I said, working on your emotions, DeeRonn, get your emotions in check. And I was like, all right. And so I told myself, I'm going to go bowl in Illinois, and I'm going to bowl the U.S. Open. And if I just seem to miss the cut in those, then I need to step away from it, because I see what the going trend is. I see that I'm going to miss by a mark. And so the Players Championship, I missed by 11 pins. And then I went to the U.S. Open. I missed the PTQ for that by 20. And when I went to Illinois, I had said, all right, let's do it. You told yourself, give yourself these 2 tournaments, and I missed by 2. And so missing by 2 and not missing a makeable spare the entire time, I was like, I guess that's it. So I left, I regrouped, went back home, working with, because I do work in a pro shop. I went back home, did some coaching. And as I was coaching a lot of the people, I was learning some more things about myself in general, meaning, okay, I can tell you this, but how come I'm not taking my own advice when I'm out there bowling? And so just kind of, again, trying to get myself both physically stable. Again, things with my game felt like they were off a little bit mentally, by telling myself, hey, you can get yourself out of this. You can keep on going. And emotionally, I was wanting to love the game of bowling again, because at the time when you're out there and you're missing by a mark, you're not liking it right at that moment. You're really upset. And going into the Masters, I said, all right, you have a new outlook. You have a new take. Let's have fun with it. And it just started working out from there. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but that's just kind of starting from the national tour at that time.
You're the guest, man. Take us anywhere you want. It's all good.
What was your mindset going into the Masters, knowing what you just said previously?
Yeah.
Were you pumped? Were you focused?
I was definitely a lot more focused than I normally have been. More so, like I said, because me and the Masters or USBC events just kind of struggled. I missed cashing at the Masters last year by 20 pins, and I was 50 pins into the number going into the last day. So that was something that was in the back of my mind, but I did not let it tell me, hey, this is, this could happen again, because I understood why it happened. I understood that I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't looking at the ball reaction. So I told myself, don't make the same mistake twice. So my mindset was, come out here, have a good time. You told yourself you're going to finish up the rest of the tour. So regardless, good, bad, indifferent, you're going to finish. So just have fun. And I was having a great time.
Did you, throughout the course of the Masters, this is always something that people are interested in, is bowling ball selection. Obviously, we saw you throw the attention star on TV and bowled an extremely professional 217 game. Did you use a lot of bowling balls throughout the week? Were the pairs very different from one another, or were you able to actually stay kind of in the same zone with kind of the same motion, limited amount of bowling balls?
I think I brought probably about 17 or 18 bowling balls to the Masters because it was within driving distance. And so you have to tell yourself, if I think I need it, I have to bring it, especially for a tournament at that magnitude. Sure. The very first day, you have the A squad, the B squad, the C squad, and A squad always likes to play them a little bit further to the right, try to break it down so you can get left and have a little bit of hold. So I played them really, really well the first day. I think I got to 129 over. They were, the first day, and I was like, oh man. And that was a relief because, previous years I would have to start off minus and kind of work my way in. So at this point, it was great to start off plus, and I started feeling a lot better about my ball choices. During the start, I used, I probably used about 2 or 3 different bowling balls to start. And as we got into a couple of days after, I would switch out a couple of balls to see if they would work. So I would tell you roughly I use about, 8 to 10, but I stuck with the attention star and exponent. I think those were probably the 2 that worked out really well for me.
Excellent. That's
Am I the only one that wanted him to grab the camera and go, "The price is wrong, bitch," right after he won? I'm waiting for Sonny Gilmore. I'm like, oh, it's gonna happen. He's gonna nail this one. I know it. This is the pinnacle. But again, it's on TV. I get it. Let's edit that in for the YouTube video. Why don't we call the art department, Rob?
Yeah, I can't even see myself getting that close to a camera and saying, right.
Well, see, you're practicing already.
I know.
There's no way nobody else thought that, though.
Yeah.
No way.
Exactly. And so but the thing is, though, you tell yourself, when I get onto TV, how am I going to look? What am I going to say? What am I going to do? Am I even going to be able to speak? And that was my biggest thing. And talking with Kimberly Presley and some of the other people, they were laughing because I was so focused on the image. And I just I want to make sure my forehead looks good. There's no grease on the forehead. I want to make sure that the hair looks good. The beard's trimmed up, all these things that most people never want to say when it comes to TV, whereas you got to look at this. And obviously I'm going to be looking at this for a long time. So
it's there forever, man. That's it.
Somebody said to me that one of the first things you said when asked about making the TV show was you were kind of you wanted to make sure you had the right outfit picked out.
Yes.
And I think the same way. I'm like, man, I don't want my armpits sweating on national television if I ever make it. So what color?
You're not wrong. And so, the ongoing joke that I had was when I bowled Team USA trials, I led the first day and I had this particular jersey on. And then they took a picture of me wearing this particular jersey. And on Facebook, I had said, you guys, I do have more than one jersey. Everybody's just kind of looking at it like, does this guy just walk around and bowl in just the one jersey? Which is so funny. But the one, I do have more than one jersey, but it's 2 of the same jersey.
That's it.
So, but yeah, I had to show you guys that because I wanted to throw that in. I thought
just
that
cut
was
the sleeves off of that one. They'll know the difference then, and then you just walk around. That's all. That's all you got to do. Plus, with your bowling arm, Jesus, that's the gold
this one
right now. Hell yeah.
This one just flails in the wind.
That's all. No, it's for balance.
We call that
balance. That's definitely for balance. We're talking mechanics here. That's got its purpose.
It still has its purpose, here. I mean, it will be hard to do it without it. So
can you explain, since you hadn't been on TV before, obviously you've watched probably hundreds of bowling shows over the years.
Yes.
Being there and seeing the production, seeing the setup, I'm sure it's hot as hell under those lights. What were your first initial reaction when you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be bowling on this set that I've watched for who knows how long?
Forever. And my reaction was just, was wow. Okay. I was always told by some of my friends who've made some of the shows that it's going to go by really fast. And so in my mind, I just had everything planned out. I knew that I had to talk to Kimberly about stuff. I knew that there was a portion of where I'm going to be standing and watching. I knew that there was going to be so much going on. And so I was more nervous about speaking on TV and starting and being kind of the headliner of it more than anything. And once that was done, I had said, oh, okay. All right. Now that's one less thing I have to remember, because we went over it a couple of times because of, different avenues that are going to be touched in bowling. We went over it and we were like, okay, what are we going to say? Let's go over it again. Let's just make sure you're going to be okay. And working at the casino, I've done things in front of the camera. I've done promotional videos. I've done self-help videos. I've talked about bowling in pro shops. So I've made all of my mistakes in the 60 takes that we did doing that. And so when Kimberly told me, you got one, you got one take, make it happen, I was like, okay, let's do our best. So, but it was great. I went early to just familiarize myself with it, because it's a lot smaller than what you think it is when you're looking at it on TV. So for me, if I can familiarize myself with the people or with the atmosphere, I feel more comfortable. And if I'm able just to be myself, it's almost game over at that point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You definitely were yourself on television. You acted like the true professional that you are. You were, extremely supportive of Patrick's run, which kudos to him on a fantastic week. Also, Patrick Dalkowski. Yeah. And you could just tell by your fan base. I'm assuming 100 more would have been there if they could have been there, but just your fan base. I mean, I'm looking at your family in the crowd. I'm looking at one of my favorite people on the planet, Pharrell Williams, there losing his mind watching you win. I mean, like Rob said at the top of the show, it kind of choked a lot of people up, man, because anybody that knows you knows that was sincere and real and in every single aspect. And in your interview where you're talking about wanting to encourage people to continue to pursue this game, like follow your footsteps, we just need more people like you, and especially in this sport, because it's like hands down, that's what I feel. I may be fucked up in a lot of different ways, but you've got it there, and it's and I can't wait to see what else you're going to do. And not to mention, one of the biggest things that's been floating around about your victory is the love for the traditionalist bowler is coming back. The standard fingers, one-arm bowler. Everybody was thrilled everybody's talking about, hey, and a regular standard traditionalist won a major, which was actually kind of cool. I mean, and you have the greatest bowler in the world as the only two-hander even on the show. But the other question that I wanted to ask you was, when you opened with 579 against EJ, did you go into that match with the same mindset that you had for the whole tournament, or did you kind of mentally prepare yourself and say, I got to beat EJ Tackett. I got to give him every ounce of what I've got right now. Don't hold anything back. No holds barred. Or is that just what happened in that match?
Yes. I made a joke with Tim Mack before the match, and I said, the only way that I'm going to beat EJ is if I shoot 900. That is exactly what I told Tim. And he's like, okay, well, let's try to make that happen. And I said, okay. And yes, I will tell you that anytime EJ is on the lanes, he's going to throw a 6, 7, 8 bagger at you. Like it's nothing, with just like this, just throwing shots, And I was like, I have to give it everything I possibly have and put myself into this new level of focus against EJ. And I was focused amongst everyone else. I was just as focused against Simo, against Jake, against Gio from Storm, against Sam Cooley, and Patrick Dombrowski. I had the same focus. But I told myself when we got onto the lanes, I said, whatever he does, do it twice as good to try to give yourself a chance. And to start off the first match with the front 9, Tim comes up to me. He's like, you weren't kidding. And I said, well, I said, I'm going to do my best, and then wrapped a 10 and spared and shot 279. And I said, all right. I said, even if I shoot 879, I'm still close. I'm only 21 pins away. So then I proceeded to start striking the next match and got to the front 9 again. And now we're talking about a pattern that's a 1.7 to 1 pattern. And I just go basically, how was that 9 plus 18, 19, 20, there's 24. Come on, DeeRonn, there's 24 frames. And so I struck 22 out of 24 frames. But going into that, my whole thought was, all right, let's try to get to 300. Because again, yes, I could be up by a number over 100, but we never know what's going to happen on the games after that. I can lose my look, something can happen. And that 100 pins could easily be 50 pins within 2 frames, 30 pins within 5. And now you're looking at, I got a mark in the 10th being up by 100. And so finishing off that game and shooting 300, I was like, wow. And at that point, looking at the score and looking at the kind of the deficit between the two of us, or between him and myself, I was like, all right, DeeRonn, you still have a lot more bowling to do. Don't use up all of your energy in this one. You still got Sam, who I think has one of the meanest ball rolls I've ever seen anyone have. It is absolutely incredible to watch, but to see it in person and you see the force and you see the power, it was incredible. And I just was like, I got a lot more to go. I have a lot more to go, but I know the match against Sam was just as important against EJ, because win or lose, I'm on the show. I have a chance to be on the show. And so, because then I can go for the final 3 and then maybe test my chances with that. I don't know. But every single match was important in its own way. Getting yourself out of the blocks, getting yourself comfortable in the morning, to understanding the lane breakdown the next match, to bowling against two of the 3 best bowlers in the world in the same bracket. And then adding, someone whose ball roll, when it hits the head pin, they all fall down, So I had the same amount of focus, and that's the best way for me to put it.
I mean, you went through a murderer's row. I mean, in match play, like it's pretty impressive that the talent you were able to beat.
Mm-hmm. And not in one game matches either.
Exactly.
Against that, I mean, over and over. That's good. Sorry,
no, that's fine. I mean, that's stupid good. I mean, that's just how locked in and focused you were. Getting back to TV day, being the number 1 seed, they always say it's the hardest to win from number 1 seed because you only get 1 game. And you could be going up against a guy who's bowled 2 or 3 games already, running the ladder, and is locked in. Were you nervous having to wait that long? Like, I'm sure waiting for those previous games to finish, not knowing who you're going to go against. And no disrespect to PD, Belmo should have won that match. I mean, and you're probably sitting here at one point thinking, I got to beat Belmo, the 5-time Masters champion, the 4-time Masters champion, to win. I'm sure there wasn't any added pressure, but just sitting there waiting for your turn, what was going through your mind?
I was actually looking at the show from a TV on the other side of the bowling center. I couldn't watch the show. And I just wanted to watch the show and pretend like what I would do on the show, even though I'm already on the show, if that makes sense.
Sure.
By watching it and seeing it, it becomes a reality. But if you take a look at it on TV, you're like, well, if I was there, I would do this. And so that's how I really prepared What happened? Oh, he just kind of.
No, I'm wow. Like
it's so brilliant what you just said. Think about every time you're sitting at home and like watching somebody miss a putt in golf. God, you got to aim further left. This one's got a bigger slope. Like if you're watching it, you always know exactly what to do when you're watching. From
when you're watching from home. And so my home was a pair of lanes and a TV right in front of me, watching it and saying, I don't know why they're so far left. I may not have to be that far left if I was ever on TV or being in that situation. The type of bowling balls they were using. So it helped me develop the game plan on what it is that I wanted to do while I was waiting. And, you kind of see the guys, everybody has their own focus. They all have their own modes. Some have headphones on. Some are just focused, like they're sitting and they're staring and everybody has theirs. But for me, I just had to continue to have fun with it and continue to say, like, this isn't the first show I'm going to make. This is just this is the first show that I've made in this position. And now being the number one seed and taking a look at it, I was like, all right, well, as a number one seed, you got to take a look at it. You have to understand the lanes. You can talk with the reps a little bit to get a better understanding, to make sure that what you see is actually there. And so I will tell you, I was definitely nervous, but the more I looked at the TV to put myself in a comfortable position, made me feel so much better by saying, hey, now this is your chance to wrong that mistake that you may have seen on TV when you were bowling. So it's a little different, but it really made me feel really comfortable with what was going on.
Dude, if you're the first person to do that, you just outed this great secret. So let's edit that part out just for his sake, so he can keep using that technique. So the software drop will edit that part out. He was just in focus mode. You don't have to say he's been watching TV, because that is a brilliant move. It's like
It really is. I never even thought of it. Like,
it's next level.
You're literally taking yourself out of the element for those moments.
Or
If
just
they haven't,
placing
screw
yourself
you.
in a
He said it.
It's my question for you, D, was the pattern itself looked like it held up pretty well throughout the course of the week. We didn't see a ton of guys lofting the cap, and obviously we always see guys lofting the cap at some point. But once it got to the title match, did you have them playing pretty similar to the way you had them all week?
No, not at all. The right lane was significantly tighter, so the right lane played like a few games were bowled on it, and then the left lane played like it was fresh, like it was completely fresh. The backs were clean, and it played. Yeah, they played different. I felt like they played different every single day, and so I was using a different type of bowling ball to try to simulate the same thing that I saw the previous time. So that was kind of my thought process on it when looking at the TV pair. And when you start to look at bowling, you don't just look at bowling balls and layouts. You take a look at the mills on the lane. You take a look at the shape of the pattern. You take a look at how much is in the front part of the lane, and understanding, okay, well, there was only, there was an insane amount of rev rate. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of rev rate to the left of me, and my bowling ball laydown is not even close to that. So for me to think I have to be so far left, I don't have to. And the amount of mills that they are starting to use in the middle part of the lane, and I've done this as an experiment. And again, these are not secrets. These are just things that I've done to help prepare me for this position and to be able to speak with you guys today. And so if anybody wants to take note on it, they can by looking at it, and seeing how many mills are in there. We actually did at the bowling center at the casino. We bowled for 6 hours on the same, tried to play the same part of the lane to see how much lane breakdown we were going to see. Now, yes, we saw a lane breakdown, but when you actually walk the pattern, we saw that the laydown, because of how many mills that they're using now and how the oil is in the front part of the lane, doesn't break down as bad. And so I was able to say, okay, with only three people bowling, two of them being further left than me, I'm okay. I can still stay what I'm doing, maybe use a ball that's a little bit cleaner, tips a little bit more down lane. But other than that, I feel like I can still play my A game.
Were you surprised that Belmo stayed where he was against Dombrowski?
To be honest, yes. I was a little surprised because we practiced on the pattern and we were able to bowl on the pattern off the lanes. And I never saw him that far left at all. And so It really did surprise me that he moved as far left as he did, because you're talking about 33.34 mils, I believe is what we bowled on. And that's a lot. That is a lot. If you get a little measuring cough syrup cup, you can put it in there and that's 30 mils right there, And so you can see that spread out onto the lane is a lot. So, it surprised me, but
that explains his slow roll too. Like he had a real slow roll too, really chuggy. Where and in order to face up, I would assume. But you saw it. It would look good, but it would snap a teensy bit high, or again that what was it, an 8-10 where it was almost a 2-8-10. He just sailed it wide. By a who knows. Baby hair. I'm trying to keep it.
You're exactly right, Ocho. And as D said, on a 1.7 to 1 pattern, even missing by the hair, as you call it, is just think about it like this.
Well, we manscaped, so we can't say that.
If you miss 2 at the arrows, it usually equates to 4 down lane. We just don't realize that because on a typical house shot, you have a funnel effect.
Yeah, exactly.
But imagine, missing by 2 at the arrows on a 1.7 to 1, basically a flat pattern, as close to flat as you can get without being one.
1 to 1, right.
I mean, even that just is a testament to how good these guys are. I mean, D, you averaged well over 225 in all your matches on that pattern against the greatest bowlers in the world, as you said. And that's the kind of shit that, unfortunately, sometimes television doesn't allow the general public to see.
Very unfortunate.
It's like we get the pleasure of watching Tiger Woods for 4 hours every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday hit a golf ball, or Scotty Scheffler. We get the privilege of watching Greg Maddux, or I don't know, who's the Dodgers pitcher there? Clayton Kershaw. We get to watch them pitch 6-7 innings every 4 days. We see the good, we see the bad. On television, you may have done everything you had to do, and you have one wonky game on television, and that's kind of where you're judged. People don't get the privilege of seeing.
They don't see the 48 games prior. They see the 12 shots you threw, and they're like, "Oh man, look at this freaking chucklehead." Not you, of course.
Exactly. I could do that. I could do that. No, you can't do that, because if you could do that, you still couldn't do that. You are in Detroit now for the World Series.
I am in Detroit for the World Series. You know how flights go. First flight was canceled because of weather. The next flight, there was a plane malfunction. So I had to fly to Vegas at noon. So I had to go back to Vegas and then fly from Vegas to Chicago, rent a car in Chicago, and to get to Detroit in order to be here tomorrow to start the doubles of the World Series.
Wait a minute. You mean Tom Clark didn't fly you on the private jet for being a Masters champion?
Tell me about it. I was.
Come on.
Yeah. Sometimes I have.
Does Tom Clark really have a private jet?
You can just blame Chad Murphy.
We can blame. Yeah, sure. There you go.
Who made a TV appearance too? On freaking Easter. He ruined my damn Easter. I was like, wait, that's this freaking clown shoe? Son of a beasting.
D, who you bowling doubles with?
I'm bowling with Ronnie Fujita. He's from the NorCal area. I think you would know. You know Johnny. He's been bowling. Ronnie's been bowling for a long time. And so and he's extremely solid. Bowled for McKendry.
That I don't remember.
I can't remember, and it's funny because I'm staying with them all this week. Brad, Kyle, and Ronnie. So I got to ask him, like, hey, what school did you bowl for again? I know it was out here in St. Louis for sure. So it could have been McKendry.
Sounds right.
Yep. So I'm here, and it's another tournament, and I it's always going to be in my mind of what happened, and I just want to be able to create more memories. Lindenwood, thank you, I appreciate it. You went to Lindenwood. Yeah, my buddy Kevin went to Lindenwood for a second as well. So
my nationals teammate Shea Bittenbender.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
great. Hell of a school now that you think about it. A lot of you. Ryan Valenta went to Lindenwood. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot to it. But yeah, I forgot what school. I knew he went to school out here, and I do remember that it was Lindenwood. So we're good.
I heard.
Are you gonna let Brad and Kyle exploit you, because that's our job here, DeeRonn? That this is no, we're just kidding. We're not exploiting anybody, but no, I love their show. Honestly, I think they got a freaking great show. That's the only time we can see behind the scenes stuff, because they don't post it on the damn TV at all, unless you got Bowl TV, which I got everything.
D, what was I just gonna say there? Son of a gun!
You tell him how great he looks.
Did you? My best friend Stephanie hit me up earlier and told me something about a sprinkler head malfunction in the arena bay. Do you know anything about this?
Over in Detroit, I didn't go that far, so
I heard something happened where all the sprinklers went off in the arena bay at Thunderbolt, and they're trying to figure out a way to get everything fixed before all the shows.
That is correct.
If you hear anything about that, let us know, and hopefully everything's
part of the oil pattern. You never know. They started doing like the
new way of
oil pattern.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even walk that far. They have the doors closed, so I'm assuming that they didn't want anybody in there. They're going to definitely try to get it all fixed up beforehand, but I didn't know that. I kind of walked in through the party section of Thunderbolt, and I was talking to one of the employees, and I said, this is an amazing bowling center. You have everything that you can tailor to in bowling. You have birthday parties in groups, and then you have, your main stage for bowling, and then you have like a nightclub bowling type thing going on. Like, you attract everything with that bowling center. And I was just admiring it because of the history behind it. I was admiring it because it's so big, and you don't see 90 lanes in a bowling center anymore. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I was there last year for the Masters, and I just like walking around. I feel like I can walk around that bowling center for hours and just kind of figure out a new spot, a new place in it. It's a great place.
Pretty hard to figure out. I'm sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
My first ever trip to Thunder Bowl was the World Series when Simonelli made the shows at Cheetah and Viper, and him and I were actually rooming together. 30 days in Detroit that World Series was. I'm not sure if it was the first one. It was, I want to say 2009, 2010.
Okay.
But, you're right. And if I remember correctly, I think they also have a casino upstairs, like a little.
Do they really? I
know at Taylor Lanes in Taylor, Michigan, they have the center section where you can play poker. But I'm almost positive at Thunder Bowl, I think I remember going upstairs at Thunder Bowl, and there was like a little makeshift casino there. I could be wrong, but you're right. I mean, you got 3 completely different bays. I know that they finally upgraded the lane surface in the arena bay. It used to be an older surface, which I absolutely loved bowling on. I loved bowling on that. But it is, it's so sad that Tom Strobel's gone, but it's nice to see that place is still like the pinnacle bowling center in the Detroit area.
It's between that and Reno to me. The Reno Bowling Center, I love that too, because they have the little history museum down there. I think they still have the other lanes in that area at the very bottom before you go up the stairs to the main section. Mm-hmm. Even with the remodel, it was still great. I loved when the seats were up there because you can kind of sit back up there and just watch the entire arena. Like, how often are you able to watch 70 plus lanes all bowl at the same time? And 100%. So I loved it. Those are between Detroit Thunder Bowl and in Reno. I love it. Those are my two favorite bowling centers by far.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie and say that I love Reno. Obviously, I'm left-handed, so yeah. I love the stadium, but I just kind of wish it was somewhere else in the country. And I think a lot of people would agree with that too. Just kind of getting a little sick and tired of reading. I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Baton Rouge next year, someplace a little bit different for USBCs. But I got to ask now, I mean, does this change any plans? Did you have full intentions of trying to continue on the tour full time? I mean, does this change anything about, I mean, obviously it changes so much. I mean, that's a massive check you got, but with the money comes the opportunity to maybe present yourself in different ways than you otherwise would have. So what are you going to do now? Has anything changed in your plans?
So, the weight that was laying on me throughout the entire getting my card, I got it 6 years ago, but then I started bowling as a full-time professional in 2023. And the weight of the PTQs was weighing on me. And now, not having to do those anymore and being able to financially support myself, my bowling self with the check that I got, I'm so excited to say that I'm going to continue to go out there and bowl. I'm going to continue bowling the events for as long as I can. We're greedy when it comes to bowling. One title isn't enough. So I definitely want to get on TV again. I want that feeling. I want that rush. And so it changes everything. I'm still going to be at the pro shop. I'm still going to work with people. I'm still going to do my coaching when I can, because, the PBA is only, 12 or 13 events. And so for the rest of that time, I'm going to go and continue to help everybody that I possibly can when it comes to coaching and understanding bowling ball reactions, understanding themselves, how they look. There's so many different things. And what I mean by look, not how they look, but, how they look on the lanes, what they see, what they want their bowling balls to do. Because, we all see the same thing differently. And I'm just trying to touch into that a little bit more. If you're right or left eye dominant, if you ever close your left and right eye when you're bowling, you can see how that focus is. And that is a big, big thing that someone brought up to me. also about how much you move your body. If your body's angled more than 3 degrees, and if you want to release the ball in front of you, you're going to throw it in the gutter. And so, stuff like that, I love to teach and show them a different perspective of the game. And with this win and going out there and bowling on the national tour, all it does is just help me get more knowledge in what the PBA players are doing and what I can do to help this player be the best that they can be. And I touch on this with, you go to a doctor's office. If you're going to a doctor's office, you're going to go see a professional person or that specializes in whatever is going on. You're not going to someone who is, I think that's it, but I'm not really too sure. You're going to walk right out of there. But for me, the thought of professional bowling is one thing, but I can tell you is that I am a bowling professional. And so, but bowling professional is, teaching layouts, teaching coaching, teaching about, your emotions, and then going on and just doing everything that you can think of with bowling. When I try to help out with the junior program as much as I possibly can with JBTs, because Jeff out there, I said, the first junior to ask me is going to bowl. And so that's just how it is. And I don't care who it is, they can average 70 or they can average 210. That's how I work, because everyone deserves the opportunity. And I say, like, okay, and I'm working with one of the kids and I say, all right, regardless of what's going to happen, people are going to remember you for you and not for how you're bowling. So if you're bowling bad, hey, you have all the right to be upset. But when you're bowling good, keep it under control, keep yourself composed, but still smile, have a good time, because, we're out here doing this because we want to, not because we have to. So if that kind of gives you a little bit on
words have ever been spoken.
Yeah.
Such a breath of fresh air to hear somebody say that. I mean, it really, really, really is. But Rob, I feel like I'm hijacking again.
No, you're fine. DeeRonn, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question as a host, given the culture that we're in now. Not a lot of black people bowl on the PBA tour. PBA even posted that you were the third black man to ever win a PBA title, all of them being majors. Does it mean a lot to you to represent as a black man in a sport that you love? And do you hope to inspire more black people to go bowl? Oh. And I mean, it has to mean a lot to you.
It really does. And, yes, being black, African-American, however you want to politically say it. But, I'm still a person first. And
sure.
And again, I will still take that and be a part of history. As you guys know, I love history. And to say my name is in the history of being, one of only 3 blacks to win a PBA title and all of us having a major, you just get the chills just even thinking about it, because that is very, very hard to do. And I got a message from Gary Faulkner, and he's like, hey, you know what? Good luck. If you need anything, just let me know. And that, again, was just so relieving, because I knew he said, let's come and join me, come and join us. And I've never met George Brenham, or GB3. Is that what they?
Yes, sir.
I've never met him, and so it'd be so nice to meet him, because he started it all for us to give us a chance to go out there and compete. But yes, for the black community, TMBA, there are a lot of bowlers that bowl that are black, and they are
sure.
very, very, very good. I can, and so they're amazing. He mentioned Farrow. I mean, Farrow at one point had the record for 800s and 300s in USBC in history.
Farrow's obnoxious how good he is.
Yeah. And being, growing up in LA and seeing the pave that he had started for me, it was a good pave, because the better you were, unfortunately, it was harder to do things, and that's okay. That's a good problem to have. But he was so good during a time where there wasn't any social media the way that it is right now. There wasn't you couldn't look up stats on USBC very easily. You couldn't search the internet for different tournaments that he has bowled. And so with Farrow being, if we want to talk about, African American bowlers between Farrow and Gohagan, these guys are absolutely phenomenal. They're fun. I've never seen 2 guys strike at will ever. And for me, I will nine spare everybody to death. Don't get me wrong now. but like
I'll go double 6-2 all day.
See, and for me, it's 10-pin strike, double 10-pin strike, double 10. Like that's
you did it on TV to win the Masters.
Yeah, that's all you did. I said, I'm really good at getting 9, and so, but I can tell you guys, man, this is just I'm opening up the door for everybody from all ethnic backgrounds, demographics, you name it. The struggle is real for everyone when it comes to doing what it is that you want to do and being very passionate about it. And
Sure.
So for me doing this, I just want to let everyone know, Black, Hispanic, of an Asian descent, it doesn't matter. Like everyone can do this. You can go out there and do it. I would go to work and then work again and then practice and then drill balls and then coach and do it all in the same day, because I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And I want to be able to continue doing this. Like I had said to the PBA, I want to continue doing this so I can do it for other people. So I can help somebody. One of the kids that I work with tell me, hey, I just won JBT because of your help. Or I got an amazing phone call yesterday. My buddy of mine, his dad texted me and said, hey, I just want to let you know I bowled my first 800 with these balls that you had drilled. And I was like, are you kidding me? And we would talk about layouts, and he's a full roller and how the balls would shape, and teaching him how to use each bowling ball. And just doing and hearing that it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel like, all right, like I am doing it. And I want to continue doing this. And so with these accolades, even though without these accolades, I was still working with people every day and helping them. But with these accolades, I really hope that people trust a little bit more in my knowledge and allow me to help them get to their highest potential.
You're like the bowling version of Gandhi. This is freaking amazing.
That's true. And
I just saved the neighborhood, by the way. I just had to tie a freaking knot in the wire. Literally in the wire. I wore rubber galoshes. I saved the whole neighborhood. Everyone's got power now.
Good job,
Just to let you know. So everybody watching in Ochoville can get back on YouTube and Facebook. Tell them where, Rob.
No.
Okay.
So I wasn't trying to make it a race issue, DeeRonn. Like I said, I preface it with that's the culture that we're in. I noticed somebody in the comments said he's a man and a bowler, leave race out of it. But a lot of people don't understand unless they're in your position or in a black man position. If you don't see a lot of people out there that look like you want to be one to inspire more, right? And I mean,
I just want to.
It shouldn't matter, right? But I mean, it does kind of, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even with the fellow bowlers bowling the PTQs that can become competitors. I talked to one of them today, and I had said I would rather bowl you in a title match than watch you fight and claw your way through the PTQ. Like that's what I want. I feel like everyone out here who's bowling these PTQs are phenomenal bowlers. Cortez, Eric Jones, Dio Bernard, the up and coming young talent. And man, oh man, if I can do anything to get those guys out there, because one hit. They stone, let's use the lefties, Johnny. You stone a 9-pin when you need it and you miss by 1. That does not take anything away from you as a competitor. But for these guys, I feel for them because I was there. And yes, I can honestly say that I've worked my entire life to not be in that position anymore so fast after bowling on the national tour for just a year and some change now. But for those guys, I will sit back behind them. I'll help them with their ball reaction. I'll help them just calm themselves down so they can get themselves out of it, because these guys are just that good. There are so many good bowlers out there that we never get a chance to see because of the PTQs. And there's nothing that I can really do other than give them the support that I can with it. But, that's what I want, man. I really, really want to be able to just help those guys feel what I feel right now, because it's an amazing feeling. Johnny, with your dad being, a legend of the game. I mean, I bet you, every moment that he was on the show and every moment that he won, he was just like, this is a moment that I want everybody to feel, because it's such a good feeling. It's such a great feeling.
It comes very easy for my dad. It's because my dad is a very emotional person, and my dad cares more about everybody else more than himself. My dad is the kind of guy that will park his car and feel like if he moved too far forward in the spot, he'll go back out to the car and move it so he doesn't bother the next person that tries to park in front of him. My dad is extremely, extremely emotional, but my dad is very, very soft-spoken. And my dad has always been the kind of person whose heart is genuine and pure and very much like yours. And it was easy for me growing up with him as a dad because every person I've ever come in contact with, my dad is the only person I can say this about. Every single person that has ever come up to me and said a word to me about my father is, your dad is a class act. I love his stories. He's such a great ambassador for the sport. Nobody has ever come up to me and said, your dad's a dick. Your dad thinks his shit doesn't stink. Your dad is a fucking hothead. Your dad drinks too much wine. Your dad. Nobody has ever said a derogatory thing about my dad because my dad has spent his entire life taking care of every single person he possibly can. And so for me, that was most of the time it was absolutely awesome. The other parts of my life have been kind of tricky because I don't know a lot of people like that. And I love people genuinely also, but I've also had my fair share of issues throughout my life. So, which, I mean, nobody's perfect, right? But I think that, like what Stephanie said, representation is so important. And you are, like you said, a bowling professional in every single walk of life. And I think the thing that most people that watched you win this week and are learning more about you is forget race. Again, I know nothing about what it's like to be underrepresented. I just don't. So I'm not even going to pretend like I know anything about it. I think it's fantastic that you've added your name to a list with two genuinely wonderful people. George Brown is one of the greatest people on earth, and I hope to God you get to meet him one day. Mm-hmm. It's contracted by my dad with Brunswick when he won the TSA. So and the World Open, which they don't consider a major. But I mean, aside from that, I think what most people took away from you is you're a bowler and you care about the sport that is now providing your life, your livelihood, and you're maximizing on it. And I think that we'll get him back. And I think that's the thing that people need to analyze as the big picture here, because that's exactly what DeeRonn has done for the sport, like many others have prior to him, and many more will continue to do. But he's carrying the torch extremely, extremely well.
Yeah, what a story though, too. Like and honestly, like the shame of it is the people that he influenced knew it. Had he not won, would we know it? Would they know it? Would the world know it? Would Kimberly Pressler know it? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a vaulting. Me too. All right, I'm good. I'm fine with that.
We proved our point.
So, but this is a vaulting moment. Like, this literally is about, we talk about it, like reaching the next level, reaching the pinnacle. This guy is reaching the pinnacle. Now everything that when people would say, well, what's he ever done in bowling? He don't know. Now he can say, hey, guess what, mother effer? I told you I knew my shit. I told you I could do it. And he did it.
How many thousands upon thousands of teams go out to USBCs every year? Thousands.
Oh, yeah. And
how many of them have Eagles? How many of them have gone there and beaten everybody that goes there throughout the months of March through June?
A lot of few.
I mean,
it's a lot of few.
What he was talking about earlier with the TNBA, especially when I was on the West Coast, the talent that is out there that nobody gets to see is unmatched. I mean, I thought growing up on the East Coast and bowling action in New York, I mean, there's some tough sons of bitches out here.
You saw people. You saw the shit.
Tough sons of bitches out here. I'll be the first. I mean, this is a scary. It used to be a scary place to bowl because not only do you have the talent, but you got the loudmouths of the East Coast. You got that Northeastern, I'm fucking better than you mentality out here, and people let you know about it. They slap shit out. They get in your face. They do all that stuff. On the West Coast, they just beat the living shit out of you, and they're quiet about it. No, it's
what's worse, actually.
I think
both like.
Well, this is what I was going to say earlier when I lost my train of thought. When you look at old school professionals compared to new school professionals, you used to see a lot more excitement in the older generation. Like go back to like Bob Vespi and Brian Voss and Ricky Ward and Steve Hoskins, Del Ballard. I mean, those guys were pumped up, amped up every single time they threw a double on TV. The new PBA has gotten so technical. There are so many intricacies in the sport. There's so much science backing DeeRonn said he brought 17 bowling balls to the Masters and used 10 of them throughout the course of the week. There is no time to get that excited anymore because the second you slip up even for a frame,
they're back with the ball rep. They're doing their thing. They're freaking.
They have to be more level-headed now because everybody is so good now.
Holy shit! We got him as our guest tonight.
Rob Booker, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on Straight Up 5.
I looked and I was like, I didn't know how much battery life I had left. And then I was like, let me try to, figure out what I can do and be like, hold on, let me get it. And then as soon as I was going to say, hold on, it said no. I was like, in the middle.
And it's always that 5-minute delay too. Once it dies, you have to wait the stupid 5 minutes.
I know.
Like it just died. You can't just turn back on when I
play. What is that? You plug the shit in, it should be on. Why does it have to have this
Come on, DeeRonn. That's a rookie move, bro.
Hey,
you didn't plug in
the computer. But he don't know the outlets in the area. He's in a spot he don't even know where the hell he's at right now.
Maybe he's just really intrigued with the combo. Check the battery.
He could have been. He could have been in Detroit. He could have been in Ochoville for all he knew. The guy had to take 4 flights, 3 cab rides, and got to rent a car.
I just figured it was a rolling.
On the guy, Rob.
Yeah, well, because Ocho left for a second, and then all of a sudden I left, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "Okay, Rob, hey, let me just. I'm here. Let me just try to get everything back up and going again."
You don't strike us as the kind of person that would give us an Irish goodbye. So
yeah, well, this was just.
I kind of figured you were coming back.
Oh, 100%. And like I said, you had left off on a topic, and I know it's assuming with things that your dad had said, and then I kind of caught you in what you were talking about. So I'm really curious to hear what you're saying about the PBA and the direction that they're going.
Oh, I said a lot of shit while you were gone. I went on one of my Johnny rants, but what I was basically trying to get at
was a T-shirt, earlier, call the art department and say Johnny Rant. That's another T-shirt. We got to make it. Okay. Please, Rob, get to the art department.
All right.
I'm on it.
Thank you. What I was saying was compared to the bowlers of yesteryear, it seems like emotion and raw excitement. You don't see it as much nowadays as you did with the older generation, the Del Ballards, the Ricky Wards, I mentioned, Randy Peterson. And I think it was because of how technical the game has gotten. Like you said earlier, if you bat your eyes for even a second or you're not in dead 100% focus, there are hundreds of guys out there that will beat you. So I feel like as emotional of a person as I am, especially when I bowl, at my level, which is nothing like your guys' level, I've had to learn to tame myself down because even throughout the course of a league night, I'm making ball changes, I'm making zone changes, and that's against house hacks like Ocho. But if you're bowling somebody like EJ where man, I'm going to fist pump that messenger in the 4th frame because I caught a double, and the next thing you know, EJ gets up and he's just nonchalant, or Chris Prather, they're nonchalantly just walking up there and now they got an 8-bagger against you. You gas 1 in the 5th frame, and now you 2-8-10, and all of a sudden you go from pacing 240 to pacing 210, and there's no time for that anymore. So I think a lot of the calmness that is the PBA tour now is residue of how great everybody out there.
But also, are you JP? Are you trying? Are you? I'm not. I know what you're not trying to say anything. You're saying what you're saying, but you're saying that there has to be a lot more thought process, a lot more thinking, a lot more cerebral approach, maybe because of the technology, the oil patterns, the technology of the bowling balls. Like you said, he brought 17. He used 10 on the first. So, like we were talking about. So DeeRonn, he also said, if even on TV, if you hitch it just a teensy bit. You threw it good. Now you're back with your ball rep, so you're already back to thinking. You're not there using your emotion. You didn't slap out the 10, so you can't run anything out. And you can't think if you're so wired up too sometimes. And I think that's where he was going at a little bit. I'm taking it to my level because I get a little fiery just on league. But, with the Ricky Wards and the Steve Hoskins, you said, they're using only a couple of different bowling balls, so their thinking would be their hand position or something. I guess is where you're going, JP, a little bit, or what? Tell me about it.
For instance, most old timers, for lack of a better term, non-progressive thinkers, when you talk to a traditionalist,
why are you being so political right now?
Because it's residue of the guest we had, because he is so polite and well-mannered and well-spoken. So I'm trying to be less fettered or more.
Are
fettered.
we? I mean, we're polite. We're just
what I'm. Yeah. All right. So
Johnny, just say it that way. And again, you've known me for a while, and it's always been this way. It's never I'm on. I'm not sitting here saying hello. My name. No, I've always been this way. So go ahead. No, speak it how you mean, and then I just have something to tell you with that to add on to it for sure.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
Most traditionalists will say these kids nowadays, they don't even know what hand position is. They don't know how to trick a ball. They don't know how to fall it back from the fifth arrow. All they do is burn up the front part of the lane, and they overpower it with their two hands and their speed, and that's not bowling. That's not bowling, yada, yada, yada. That is what the majority of people that are either against two-handed or don't like the way that the game is going will talk, and they'll say,
there was a little Abe Lakota in that too,
by the way. I threw a blue nitro. I had a blue nitro and I had a red turbo, and that's all I needed. And if the fronts were hooking, I had to spin it through the front more. Well, guy, if you went out on tour now, you still need to know how to do all that. But on top of that, now you need to know the surface that's going to match the topography of the center you're bowling in. You need to know breakpoint shape, breakpoint angle, trajectory. You need to know everything, and then hope that the ball's going through the pins downhill properly. That way you carry. Because if you don't have all of those elements today, you're left in the dust. So whereas I understand and fully appreciate the one view, but I hate that they're so skewed in their thought process that it can't even open up their mind to seeing how much effort goes into the sport now. That's
so it really is a thinking man. It's more obviously you're going to be a physics major or a freaking chemist almost to be able to understand the surface, the topography, the oil, the friction. This isn't stuff that's a sport thing. Normally, I have a science degree. This is what we learned, literally.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, Johnny, you're absolutely right. And when drilling balls for customers and you talk to them about it, I only need one ball, and it's okay, that's fine. But it depends on where you want to take your game. If you're talking about bowling league, if you're talking about bowling tournaments, you're not going to be able to do it with one ball. Unfortunately, like for me, I would have no problems if tomorrow they said bring two balls and go out there and bowl. But that's not the game anymore, unfortunately. Now, yes, you can go out there and bring two balls and average 180 when the field is averaging 220. You did bring that one ball, but like you had talked about layouts, I had two attention stars, one at a 4 3/4 inch pin, one at a 4 1/2 inch pin. And that quarter of an inch of a difference, like we can't even measure, a quarter of an inch made that big of a difference between me getting the ball to push that foot longer on a lane that hooked more and the ball reading up early and going big four. That quarter of an inch makes that big of a difference. Now, you can try to make the adjustment with your hand to get the ball to push that extra 6 inches, but why do that when technology lets you know, hey, you don't have to do that. Just move the pin a little bit. And there's so much thinking that's involved in bowling that now the bowling balls and layouts and lane play and knowing just those things help you not think about it so well. Think about it so long, so hard, and you can focus on you executing the shot. And it's unfortunate because some people may disagree with me on that. Everybody has a different type of A game. Your A game could be manipulating your hand. Your A game may be picking the right bowling ball. Your A game may be, knowing, anything, there's so many different things, but knowing what to do in this situation in the fifth frame when somebody sneezes in China. You know what I mean? Like knowing how to handle each situation. Everybody has their A game. And when you're out here bowling, unfortunately, a person's A game is what's going to work. You may get close with your B game. You may be able to cash with your C game. But right now in today's game of bowling, you got to have the equipment and you got to have the knowledge of the equipment in order to succeed. And even at a league level, I mean, it used to be, you could bring a 2-ball roller to the league. Now you see people with 2 3-ball rollers. And because you want to go out there and you want to do well, you want to average 220 or 230. So Yeah, that's the best way I can put it.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And it's funny because we used to like make fun of the guys at League, like, oh, you're bringing 6 bowling balls to League? Fucking moron. And now it's like,
not a bad option.
Not a bad option. A triple and a double tote, maybe this week.
Now, what year are they from, though? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's your bag, I know it's a wrecker, a winner, and a gravity shift. So we're talking, solid 10 years for you at least. My friend.
They're all such. Those are.
I was gonna say he's got a great bag. I think that's why everything is. But
wait, what was the? Hold on. You said the wrecker,
the winner, and the gravity shift.
Oh, right. Okay, got yep. And the plastic ball.
Yep,
and plastic ball.
And a plastic.
Mine are even older, so we don't need to get into those. So
he's all like, the hard rock with 2 fingers in it that you have.
It's actually a square. It's literally a square. I kick it down the lane. I make all my 10 pins. Missed 14 this year so far.
The Fred Flintstone special.
Oh, you guys are great. This is awesome. Thank you.
I'm glad you're having a good time, and we're having a good time with you as well. I have to talk about The Price is Right. We haven't actually brought it up yet. How did that even happen? How did you get picked to be on the show? Did you buy tickets to be in the audience?
No,
you're the coolest guy in the world for that, by the way. You're literally the coolest guy in the freaking world. Just FYI.
If you never did anything ever again,
I can't believe I never knew it.
You know what? I'll tell you, it was just really simple. It was 14, 15 years ago. And so if you had a certain amount of people that wanted to go, you got tickets for free. Okay. And the group that I went with was the Citrus Belt USBC Association. And they got everyone together because they like doing game shows. And they said, hey, DeeRonn, you want to go to The Price is Right? I said, yeah. I said, sure. Okay, cool. And I had just turned 18 at the time because you have to be 18 in order to go on the show. And so with my sister being a year younger than me, she couldn't go and was upset. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll probably come back with a car or something. Right. And
God.
And so by going on there, the process, it's a long process. It's an all day thing. I think the recording was like 45 minutes to an hour, but you're there 2 hours early. You're spending 2 hours interviewing, and then you have to wait. And there was a lot that went on with it. And the process has probably changed now because, again, like I'm telling you, this was over a decade and a half ago. And so basically all you do is you go and they interview and they say, hi, what's your name? Where are you from? And everything. So I started off with, my name is DeeRonn, The Price is Right winner booker. That's who I am. And the producers were just completely floored by it because nobody said like, hi, my name is DeeRonn Booker. No, I was like, I'm The Price is Right winner booker. And just
so they're handpicked, the contestants.
Yes,
I thought
they do.
Oh,
no,
man,
I'm so sorry.
I'm not unhappy about it. I'm not
pull back
unhappy
the
about
curtain
it.
on our childhood, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
FYI, now again, so he watches while he's leading the tournament, he'll watch along the other side of the bowling alley on a TV, take himself out of it. People, there's a strategy, and The Price is Right. You just got to be badass and tell them what's up, and then you're going to be picked. FYI, you learned it here on Straight Up 5. All the secrets are out, DeeRonn. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. But
no, you're good, man. We'll edit that out again.
And so, by going through that process and then sitting in the crowd, and it's a really small room. It's not a big room with a lot of things that go on. It's a small room. It's very intimate and everyone's just talking. They give you what's going on with the show and they start the show. Well, there's a name card that has your name because you can't hear the announcer calling your name. It just says this person and then the next person. And so I'm just looking and just kind of minding my own business. And then everybody's kind of hitting me. They're like, they picked you. And I was like, what? And we had those glasses. I forgot the character where these glasses came from because of the April Fool's show. But mine completely fell off because I'm like jumping around and moving my head. And my head is so big that some glasses like that just never stay on my face. And that's why throughout the entire thing, you see me, I'm doing this the whole time because they didn't fit. And even Drew during the commercial break was like, do you need some more glasses? And I was like, yes. He's like, I'm sorry, they only come in one size. And I was like, well, so they kept falling off. And that was about The Price is Right. I did, as a junior, bowled a perfect game the day before. And so everyone was, the producers were like, you're a bowler, you guys are a bowling organization. And that's why if you heard it in the clip, he had said, he just bowled a 300 in real life because I had just bowled a perfect game like that day before or something. Yeah. And and then missing the first car, I was a little upset because at the time I was going to Cal State Fullerton and I was taking the bus 3 hours, and I was like, oh, a car would be great. And I missed out on the opportunity. And so I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. And then getting the $1 on the spin, some of the reps were talking about, you see, that's DeeRonn's touch. How do you spin the wheel and then you automatically get $1 on the first spin? And just kind of going through that process as well. And then getting a chance to win a car, another car through the showcase, and the lady overbidding. I will tell you, the crowd does kind of give you a hint of what it is that you want to do. And so before I said $1, there was everybody in the crowd that was going, $1, $1, $1.
Well, she over doubled the bid, right?
I mean,
she hit like
you've got a pretty massive number.
She was like, it's like $8 million and it's 20 grand.
And so I was like, okay, well, I knew how the show worked because I used to watch it with my grandmother and Bob Barker. So I knew that if you bid $1, you only lose if you're over. You're okay if you're under.
You
but
could be under by 33,000 and change, like you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. Did they tell you why the first car that you didn't win was on blocks?
Why was it on blocks? That's freaking horseshit.
So
who was that?
So I'll tell you, the show was actually filmed in November and broadcasted on April Fool's Day. So everything that was going on throughout the show, you had to figure out what the April Fool's joke was.
Oh.
I see.
I thought you were going to say it was filmed in Camden or something like that. Or that's why.
Yeah, and so that was on blocks, and then the appliances were turned around. The car was parked backwards. Yeah. If you saw the ladies who were...
Oh, that's why he said you couldn't see the...
Right.
Oh, no
that makes
shit.
sense.
Yeah, and so and then all the models were walking backwards instead of forward. There was a lot, and then if you heard the wheel when it was spinning, it was doing quacking instead of the actual do.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so if you guys take a look throughout the show,
Son of a
there's
bitch. I missed that
there's
part.
so many April Fool's jokes that are going on in it, and what they really wanted for someone to do was to say, I won the showcase on The Price is Right, but you have to take a look at it on April Fool's Day because of April Fool's jokes. So that show saying, hey, I won on The Price is Right, but you got to take a look at it on April 1st. They're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
And
that's great.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And it took me like 6 months to actually watch it after it broadcasted on TV because I was like, oh my God, and I will tell you guys, this is the honest truth. That is why I focused on how I look on TV because I was not prepared to be on TV like that. Hair was just all over the place, and shirt was 6 sizes too big, and I was just like, if I ever get a chance to be on TV again, I want to make sure I look pretty good. And I would say, with all the still shots and stuff that they got from the show, I was like, okay, at least that's one thing I can take off of it from now on. So,
I have to ask, what'd you do with the Ford Flex?
So I kept the Ford Flex for 2 years, and then I sold it because I wanted a Scion TC because they were a big thing back in 2007, 2008, and I was able to get one in 2009. And I bought it to fix up, and I ended up buying it to just never fix it up because I didn't realize how much bowling was taking when it comes to the financial part of it. So the car, as long as the car got me from point A to point B, I was good. And and so I bought I had
right home back to point A, but at least you got the point B.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is though, because I had the car, I was always giving people rides, and I was like, if I get a 2-door car, maybe nobody will ask me for a ride anymore. It didn't change.
No.
But yeah, I had the Scion TC for 11 years after that, and so selling the Ford Flex because it was a brand new model. Ford Flexes weren't even out. That was the first year that Ford Flexes came out, and they actually brought that from another state or a couple hundred miles away for me to be able to do that.
That's really cool.
But yeah, that's what I did. So I had it, loved it, but being 18 years old and trying to drive an SUV all different places in California just got so expensive, and I really wanted a Scion TC, so I had bought a Scion TC.
So what about the fridge and the dishwasher and the?
Hey, we kept it. We kept the fridge and the washer and dryer and all of that. I was living with my dad at the time, so I was like, hey, I honestly don't have a place, and so you guys want to, do you guys want to use this washer and dryer and stuff? And we had it for about 10 years in Pomona before everyone kind of went their own.
Where's your name tag? You still got the name tag?
I sure do, and because if I was at home,
I got you.
Went into the closet, and I still have the shirt. I wore it the one time. The name tag is still on it. I didn't wash it, but I mean, it was only for a day, so it's not that bad. But I said I'm going to keep this and preserve it as its natural form, and so I still have it. I won't even use it as a Halloween costume. As what are you?
No, that's sacrilege.
The Price is Right.
Like that's a legit name tag. So
if you shadow box your Masters jersey and you shadow box your Price is Right.
Price is Right. Yeah, that's going to be it. That's
nice,
for sure.
Something not a lot of people have in their trophy room.
After he wins one of the World Series of bowling tournaments, he'll head back home. They'll picture it up. We'll put it on the Straight Up 5 podcast Facebook page and say, here's the actual. Yep, we'll do the trophy. The 2 trophies that he'll have now, and then the Price is Right picture and all that stuff.
I think I would do that, and I just don't know if it was a coincidence that I was on TV
almost to the day. You were only 2 days,
almost to the day.
Only 2 days off, only right?
One day.
Oh shoot! Oh my god! Jeez.
One day.
Sunday, the 31st.
University
31.
Yes, 31. So
maybe next year on April 1st or March 31st, you play the Mega Millions a couple times if you don't already.
I think that's a good idea. But 15 years to the day, I'm still thinking about it. 15 years to the day, I went from, the Price is Right to a major championship in bowling, and literally almost to the day. If it would have fell any other day, it would have been on the day. So,
dude, that's a Disney movie, right? Like, I mean, that's just it's such a remarkable story, and it's such a cool story to be like, I won the Price is Right at 18, and almost 15 years later, almost to the day, I won my first PBA title, and it's a freaking major. I mean, that's that's a dream come true, bro.
Well, it is, and it was even brought to my attention. Somebody brought up to me and they said, "Hey, when you won an Eagle at Nationals, what pair were you on?" And I was like, "Well, I was on the first pair," and they're like 17 and 18. I said, "Yeah." And they're like, "Do you know that the TV pair was 17 and 18? And I was like,
"Oh, come on.
Oh, come on now." Exactly.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I don't know, a lot of things in life have significance. And so I just think it was
leap year mess it up.
Oh yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Well, actually the 4 leap years that happened all in between kind of helped it. So we can't say that.
That's very true.
Well, that's fair.
Because without the other leap years, he would have been 4 days prior. What's wrong with people?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right with that. So, there's so much significance what was going on, and I'm just, like I said, I'm absorbing it all. I have so many texts and so many Facebook messages. So for anyone that's watching and I haven't responded, I do apologize. It's just there are so many, and I just want to tell everybody thank you so much for all of their support, for their continued support. And just because, I have this win under my belt doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to you, even if you live, you're in New Jersey, or somebody lives in Florida or Texas, which Oklahoma, Kansas. We can still talk layouts because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking it. I enjoy giving a different perspective on it. It's just during this time, it's just tough because, I'm on a podcast with you guys, and I've had a few other people reach out to me and want to do a couple of interviews too. And so I promise I'll get back to everyone and let them know how much their support means to me. It helped that 10-pin fall late. It helped me trip out the 4-9. Like everybody who was watching blew at the TV to try to get that 10-pin to fall down. I know that they did. They were like, "Go get down!" And they're stumping.
I jumped. I was jumping. And you got more tournaments to win too. So that's why you're busy too. You ain't a one and done guy. You're out. You're still you're focused. You're working. Let the guy work.
Dude, your attitude's infectious. Your smile's infectious. Just watching you having so much fun on TV and here throughout all of this, you have such a huge support system right now. Like, it's amazing. Like, DeeRonn Mania is running wild, brother. Like, it's infectious. It really is. And, it comes out. Like, it just exudes out of
it
you.
bleeds
Like,
out
you know what I
for
mean?
sure.
It
Bleeds
really
through.
does.
You can
And
feel it through the TV. You can feel it through the camera.
Absolutely.
Even here, it's really wild.
Absolutely. And having Rob Stone back on the call was really, really cool because he had a great call on your win. And the crowd chanting Booker, Booker, Booker. Like, dude.
If
you never win again, like your life is like you're blessed, bro. Like, seriously. Like,
I really
so
am.
cool.
It's history. It's history.
Speaking of that, real quick, are you exempt from PTQs now?
He is.
Mr. I will tell you, I am for, and I mean, unless they change the rules tomorrow, but I can tell you right now, the biggest weight off my shoulders is that I am exempt off of that. I do not have to bowl another PTQ forever. What I mean forever, meaning like within the foreseeable future. I mean, I don't have to do it. And so it just gives me more opportunities to make shows. Gives me more opportunities to go out there and bowl and to learn and to keep passing the knowledge on. That's what I wanted. And that's why I'm out here. I'm like, I told everybody I'm going out there and I'm taking the beating for us. So when we get back, I can say, hey, you're bowling this way. You need this ball. You're going to do this. Okay, cool. Why? Because I learned it from the PBA. I learned it from the best bowlers in the world. I learned by asking questions. I learned by taking notes. You know, I have a huge notebook that I write everything down in. And to be honest with you, like I have the notebook and I'll show you, it just kind of has just different things about bowling balls and layouts and how I feel about certain things, because all of that does matter. And I can go back and look at it and say, that's why it didn't work. Because if we document it, we know. And that's why sometimes documentation when it comes to certain things are just really, really important. And so, but I definitely have a notebook with just hundreds of different layouts in it, different types of bowling balls. If I'm bowling on bowling a tournament, okay, which three are going to be good? Okay, now if I only could bring 6, what are the other 3? Or if I can bring the whole kit and caboodle, like I'm going to bring them all. But if I always try to put myself in a scenario and try to work on that scenario when I'm practicing, meaning, hey, I have 2 balls that don't work, and these are the only 2 balls I got, and I got to try to get to 703. Can I do it? You know, stuff like that, and different practice regimens, because if you're practicing different scenarios and different things, it's going to help prepare you for lofting the gutter cap, or, you know, playing closer to the gutter, or using a ball that you may have to change your hand position just because you don't have the other bowling balls with you. And so I try to do that, and then I document it. I say, DeeRonn, you went 168, 188 doing this. Why? And what could you have done better at this time? So there's a lot of different practice regimens that I do like to talk to some of the students that I work with, because you can go out and bowl, but when you go out and practice, that is a big, big thing. Going out and practicing and going out and bowling, they're different, because we love the game. Sometimes we do just want to go out and bowl. Like I do. I want to see, what can I shoot? Can I, shoot 820 or something and have a good time? And there's other times where I don't want any scoring. I only want 1 pin up, and I'm focusing on bowling ball reactions. I'm focusing on what the bowling balls are doing and not so much on score. People are saying they'll see my score and I only have the head pin up and it's like 300, 300, 300, 300. And they're like, well, what's going on? Because if you hit 1 pin, you knock them down. But it's more so training myself to say, okay, can you hit the head pin from this angle? Can you hit the head pin from that angle? Because if you hit the head pin, you can almost get 9, most of the time. And so there are times when we all have bowled and we can't figure out how come we're not hitting the head pin, and that right there is just a training tool that I use to allow myself to focus more so on the bowling ball versus the result. And another thing, because this is, I'm filled with so much stuff. If you're ever working with someone and if you have the ability to set down certain pins, what I've learned and what I've done is I set down the 1, 3, 5, 9 only. And so that teaches you to get your ball to go through the pins correctly, because your ball needs to go through the pins to hit those 4 pins. Mm-hmm. So when you're practicing, you can say, okay, can we set that up and see how many times your ball is actually going through the pocket? And you'll see sometimes where you'll leave the 9 pin because it deflected, or you missed the 9 pin because it drove too hard. And these are all such cool tools that I want people to know that they can use to get themselves to be better, to help themselves understand bowling ball motion and how the ball's going through the pins and, stuff like that.
That's a first for this show too. And we're always sprinkled with a little bit of firsts. Where getting into the practice regimen. One thing I noticed that I thought was just super cool. I don't know why I thought it was super cool. You were hooking your spares at the single pins, weren't you?
Yes.
And that's like they frown on it, but JP Sr. has said forever, and maybe it was the way they bowled and what the patterns they bowled, but I know it's still zone pattern-ish a little bit, but he said, I always hooked him at my spares. He was like, that's the one thing that I didn't take in the modern game was I always hooked him at my spares, and I don't see it, and they say you shouldn't do it, and on a house shot, anybody can, obviously, but you were doing it. But you were doing it right there, man.
Here's the thing, though. We are trying to win. And
no, I don't care how I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. They're like, well, do I go straight or not? And, I missed the 9-pin earlier in the week going straight at it. And so I said, okay, I'm not doing that again, at least until after the show. And so I saw a 9-pin and I'm like, I'm going to hook at it. I'm going to hook at a 3-pin because, again, what am I getting by looking? How do I look just going straight at a spare and missing it?
And missing it. Exactly.
Yeah, and missing it. I always tell this to people. I'm like, why are you trying to look cute going straight at your spares? Just pick it up and move on and keep on going, and that's why I do what it is that I do, because I bowled a clean game, first ever game on TV. And what does everyone say? Be comfortable, do what's comfortable. So
a game, like you said,
a game, just be comfortable. So to take a look at it and to see that there was a 9-pin and I already had I was already basically, if I missed it, I would, he would have to strike out to beat me by 1.
But you knew the outside wasn't flooded either, where if you did miss a little right, it'll still come back. Exactly. So you had to know the knowledge of the pattern, and that's what, I get it. I totally
and the thing is, though, like that 9-pin, when you're trying to go straight at it, could feel like it's 500 miles away.
100%. I feel like there's a little more room for error almost when you have a little bit of a hook spot.
Well, especially when it's that 1 pin, and that 1 pin could have been career changing if I missed it. This could not have happened right now if I said, well, they say go straight at your spares, so go straight at your spares, and I miss it to the right, and then Patrick goes all 3 in the 10th and beats me by 1. I don't think I would ever be able to live that down. But when we talk about comfort and what it is that you're able to do, when I left the 9-pin, I had said, at least it's not a 10-pin. And so I went up for it and hit the 9-pin and said, I'm done. Just stay behind the foul line. I don't care if I hit 3 pins on this next shot. I'm just going to stay behind the foul line and just let it go, and that's it. And so,
I even as you threw the spare, you centered it. It was you threw it out a little wide, and then boom, it flew right back in, and it was. And they glossed over it because you may. I don't know if they don't mean they glossed over it. They just. He's always saying straighter is greater. You got to remember that, you guys. You got to throw straighter spares, and that's why these pros do it. And I just thought it was a cool thing. Nobody mentioned it. I'm doing it because that's the shit I do. And good. It's out there now again for the world to see.
Well, D, I guess my question about it is simply this. Is it condition dependent?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, well, that's what the outside's not flooded. So obviously
that's why a lot of the players frown on the hooking, because from week to week on tour,
you take the condition out of it when you throw it straight, of course.
Every single time, right? Whether it's a strike or a spare ball. So I do understand the philosophy of throwing it straight, simply because it takes away.
It takes the condition out of it, for sure. No, but
absolutely. I don't hook
at the same breath. If I can curve it at a right side spare, I'm curving it at a right side spare.
And that's the thing. And people just need to say, like, yeah, because here's the thing, though. Somebody tells you, it's a $50,000 pin. You're going to do whatever you can to pick up that pin. I don't care who you are. And I shoot at my 10 pins, obviously straight. I shoot at 7 pins straight and 4 pins straight, because it's just a slight change in angle with your body, and you can be able to get the ball over there, no problem. But when it came to something like that and keeping yourself comfortable and keeping yourself composed, hook at them. All I care about is you bowling your highest game. All I care about is you winning a tournament. And so the last thing I would ever want somebody to tell me is, because you told me to throw the ball straight at my spares, I missed this spare and I lost the league or whatever. And no, I never say that. I say, hey, you guys, pick up your spares and let's keep working on the strike shots, making sure that we're leaving ourselves makeable spares. We're leaving ourselves spares that we can make, and that it doesn't take us so far out of our element when we get into pressure situations. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I left all 9 spares, and so there wasn't a possibility of chopping the 4 off the 7 going straight at it, or chopping the 3 off the 3-6 or the 6 off the 6-10 or a 2-8. You know what I mean? I tried to do my best to play the game of bowling. And when you're bowling for a major title, when you're bowling for, and when you're bowling for a purse that big, you're sitting here saying like, okay, well, whatever got me here is what I'm going to do right now because this is what matters. And again, a $50,000 spare is a very expensive spare if you try to do something that's not within your norm.
The scoreboard don't give a rat's ass if you threw it straight, if you hooked it, if you kicked it, if you made it. That's what the scoreboard tells you basically. And the scoreboard said you won and you're the champ. And it can never, ever be taken away from you. And that's the goddamn beauty of it.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, the next people that make the shows, no one's going to remember DeeRonn hooked out a 9-pin to win.
No, of course not. I just thought it was a badass thing.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that. So, there's everybody has their perspectives, and I love just talking a little bit about my perspectives on it because my perspectives, I feel, is just the common majority at this point because everybody thinks it, but no one ever wants to speak it because they don't want to seem anything less than a professional.
Right. That's exactly right. He's nailing it. He's nailing it, man.
And so, from a professional standpoint, you ask any one of them, we can go through. I even have, 3 professional bowlers upstairs. And if I said you have to hook out a 3-pin or whatever you have to do to pick up the spare, what are you going to do? And they're going to say, I'm going to do whatever it takes for $50,000, for $100,000. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that's exactly my point is do what you got to do to be able to, obviously within reason, but do whatever you got to do to be successful out here. They are. Belmo would hook out a 3-pin, guarantee it, or whatever. So, yeah.
My final question to you, DeeRonn, and looking at your style, you're so smooth and you're almost a throwback to the previous era. You're, you don't have a high backswing. Your tempo is pretty solid and on point. Who did you model yourself after when you started bowling?
So Parker has always been my absolute favorite, even though he's left-handed. It was between Parker, and it's weird because my game is modeled off of a lot of lefties. Parker. It was. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. It's Parker, Mike Albee, Johnny Petraglia. Those were the main guys that I wanted to see form. I wanted to see style. David Ozio as a righty, he was my absolute favorite. So that's my guy. David Ozio was my guy watching it because I don't think David Ozio has fallen off a shot in his life. And so I don't think, it may be on record somewhere, 30 years ago, but he was my favorite. And when it came to releases, Devin Bidwell was a prominent bowler in that area as well. And I loved how he set the ball down. He just always set it down so clean. He had a decent rev rate. He had a really high rev rate at the time for what I've seen. And I was like, well, I can't rev it that much, but I can definitely try to set it down. So I worked on that with him as well. And then when it came to the PBA, I was looking at the different releases that a lot of these guys were doing. Prather has just one of the his release is just absolutely, it's impeccable with what he's able to do with it. And so I loved watching his release, and I would watch it on slow-mo. Even looking at EJ's release, again, we're not talking rev rate. We're talking about how they come out of the ball and what they do. Back in the day, it was Chris Barnes as well, with how he just kind of rolled his hand over, and he was one of the few guys that went from this point to here with it. And I was like, oh wow, like there was just, everybody has played a point because I'm looking at their game, and we all do the same thing differently. I can spend my entire life trying to mimic a person's game, and guess what? I'll never throw it like them because I'm not built the way that they are. I learned how to work with my game, with how I was built, with how I was structured, and what it is that I'm able to do. And so all those guys, like trying not to fall off a shot, making sure your thumb is up. I believe, your dad, Johnny, was, an advocate on letting the ball go and having your thumb go this way with it, and, there's just so many different things that I took from all the great players because they're great for a reason. And if you can take something out of their game that you can use for yourself, then yeah, go ahead and do it, but that's kind of how my game got modeled. And it's always going to be, as we get older, things start changing a little bit. So your game modifies, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be good. It's just be a little bit different. And So yeah, and to be able to show a little bit more of the conventional style of bowling on TV, I'm glad of that. Again, it's just kind of what I do. I've always just tried to keep everything together, and people are looking at me bowl, and I tell them, I'm like, well, I'm kind of boring to watch because I just kind of walk up there and just kind of let it go and keep on going from there.
There's no wasted movements. Everything is one piece, and it's why you get 9.
It's silky smooth in play, always in play.
Yes. Thank you guys. So, but yeah, that's just a little bit more about me, about my game, and how I think about bowling now as a professional. And I can now say this after a few days of it sinking in as a major titleist. And so it's just the coolest. It's just, you think about it.
If that's as cocky as you're going to get, we'll take it. But I was hoping for a little more.
Well, no,
I'm
I'm not. No, it's okay
with it because I know you're not. I'm goofing with you. We're unfettered here.
Yeah. So, but like I said, this is amazing. And like I mean, I can go back, with stories with Johnny and talking with him and him dealing with the frustrations that I was having, trying to get to that next level, talking to him about ball motions when I was representing the Brunswick brands with him. And he's just like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And I was like, okay, I'll go and try it. And then I'll text him, a couple months later and saying, okay, I like this, but, and then I see him in Vegas because I went to Vegas so much being in California at the time, or he would come out from Vegas to California and we would chat it up a little bit. So, we talked a lot about it, and we met each other at a regional, and he was just like, wow, and I was like, but wow, you're throwing a bowling ball with your name on it, So I was like, that's exactly what I told him. He's like, I said, how does it feel to throw a bowling ball with kind of your name on it, but with your name on it? And he's all like, it's pretty cool, So, but yeah, like that's kind of what we did, and it just kind of developed after that. And I really don't have much more to really say about that other than it's just, like I said, it's an honor to be sitting here with you guys, and for him to reach out to say like you wanted to talk with me. And I really hope that having this conversation with me was worth your while, and it was fun. I had a great time. This is the very first one I've ever done. And so I'm glad that you guys were the first to be able to do that.
It was a pleasure as well.
We're glad.
Just judging by the comments and the amount of people that are in the chat and are watching on all the platforms that we offer this show.
Yeah, still,
you were undoubtedly one of the most awesome guests we've ever had, and you were honored. We were honored that you took to us, because we fuck around a lot on this show. We do some stupid shit on this show, but when it's all said and done, we all share one very, very common trait, and that is our passion and love for the sport. And anybody that achieves the pinnacle of what we all so deserve at some point in our lives, it's our honor and privilege to have you here. So
thank you.
Thank you for the kind words about our past conversations at regionals, and hopefully I'll get my ass back out to the West Coast for good, because I'm missing it terribly with each day that passes, especially when it's hailing outside. So,
I mean, I'm where am I? I'm in Detroit, and you're in New Jersey, correct?
Yeah,
okay, so we're in the same time zone and doing everything right now. But like I said, it's everything that I say is just open to everyone, and I just want to help. And there's been so many people just talking out frustrations with Johnny, before a block is such a big help, because again, a lot of times people, they know you, but they never get a chance to see you. And that's why I had that statement of, can you see me? Because I can go places, and the same person that would say hi to me just kind of walks by me and says like nothing. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, I'm literally the same person. I'm here. I will congratulate you. I'll say hi, and I'll make my point to say hi and bye, because, we never know what moment, that moment may never come again. And then something unfortunately happens, and you're like, I never got a chance to say goodbye. And so I always do my best to talk to everybody. I don't care who you are. You can be, you can be Belmo. You can be, a small kid that needs.
You could be John Mazza in the chat here.
Yeah.
Speaking of smooth lefties.
Yeah.
So because you have grapefruit-sized balls, Dave.
Yeah.
We love John.
Hey, real quick, because I'm sorry to cut you off, and I know we're wrapping you up. Bring Captain Allen's comment back up.
Sure.
This might be the first time in bowling history that we have a Price is Right winner and the Wheel of Fortune winner in the same bowl.
Oh, get out of here.
That's pretty.
That is.
Oh my God! Only on Straight Up 5, man.
I'm not sure
we're
there's
making
many
history
times we're going to have
here.
a Wheel of Fortune star and a Price is Right star and a major champion all kind of in.
I'm guessing probably never.
Deal or no deal. We got to try to find that. Let's make a deal. Press your luck. We got to find all of us together.
We got to find them all. So.
To be able to do that, and then we can put us all together and be like, all right, this is what we all do.
You know, we'll get the guy who rigged the Press Your Luck game, who knew the pattern. That's what we're going to do. The guy that made the game shut down. I know who he is. I'll get him. I know everybody.
Get out of here.
Oach, do you have anything else for Dave before we steal any more of his time? And which, by the way, we always ask for, 45 minutes to an hour, and you gave us almost 2 tonight, which is thank you again, Dave. I mean, honestly, can't
you're
thank
very welcome. This was, like I said, this was great, and I know that it's going to be time to go and get up, because me and Ronnie, my goal is to continue this going with Ronnie, and my luck, I wouldn't say luck, but bowling doubles with people have been pretty good. I won a pretty good size Amarillo's doubles tournament with Jacob. I won an SBT tournament with a guy that I didn't even know. We were in the same area, but he just needed a partner, and I was like, yeah, I'll bowl, and we ended up winning it, and then winning an eagle at nationals. And so the PBA doubles, this will be really cool to share this win. If let's just say it, to share this win with Ronnie, and to help get him out of these PTQs, because that's just one less person that has to go through it. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking for. So
that's awesome.
If anyone can make it happen, it's you. So
yeah, we can do it. Remember, my statement is not I did it, it's we did it. And so every time, thank you. It's we did it, and I just can't wait. This is everything. This is everything that I've wanted, and this show is this is great. And if you guys ever need anything from me, I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I'll be more than happy to assist in whatever you guys may need, for sure.
Well,
we up on that, man.
We absolutely appreciate that. And hey,
what a selfless guy, too. My God, now I feel so inadequate, man. Jesus, I feel so unaccomplished.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I'll blow smoke up his ass because he deserves it. All hail King Booker.
Oh goodness. There's no king. It's just again. I've always had this type of personality, and this isn't I mean, if you know me, this isn't. He's putting on a show. It's the same thing. As soon as I get off, I'm probably going to text Johnny and be like, "Did I do okay? Was this good?" And because that's just
horrible.
I am. So, but you guys, like I said, this is amazing, and I really hope that everyone in the sport of bowling in the world, they get a chance to see that we're all normal people. We're all normal people. We like to have a good time. We like to have fun, and that's me. So,
damn right, man.
Well, DeeRonn, we appreciate you being here and giving us your time, as busy as you are, and we absolutely wish you to
give him his plugs, Rob. His plugs.
Is there anything you'd like to?
Come on.
Is there anything you want to plug? Your socials or anything you got going on?
Not bowling ball plugs. We're talking like this is your mode
it is. I've never been a big person on social media, and so everyone knows that when I post something on social media, it's big and it's significant, and it draws your attention. But the thing is, though, I don't have to plug anything, because I know that if you know me, you know. And that big statement is, if you know, you know. And I don't have to blast it out there. I don't have to say it. You know what I'm about. You know how I work. You know that I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it to continue this feeling, to continue inspiring, to continue giving great advice to everyone on what it is that they can do to be better. But, I had said it before at the very beginning of the show is, and I love it, because it resonates so much that you're remembered for the person and not for what it is that you do. And so if the person that you are is what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember the time that you missed the spare, but they're going to remember the time that you got so upset when you missed the spare, you broke the wheels off your bowling bag. They're going to remember that. They're not going to remember the fact that you missed the spare and was like, they're going to remember that. So it's just that model. And there's so many great people out there, and I just if I can be in their corner to help them get to where they want to go, then I will feel completely honored with that.
Well, we're honored that we were your first. We broke you in. We broke your podcast cherry. So
yes,
congrats on that. If you do Beef and Barnsey, I'm sorry. Hey, they're just not as fun as we are. I mean, no offense to them, but I'm just kidding.
Christ,
I love
Rob,
Beef
why are
and
you
Barnsey.
just-
Come on, I'm just busting their balls. But no,
We know you love beef and
I do love
Popeyes. I know
Popeyes.
that. That's for
Me
damn
too.
sure.
Love me some Popeyes.
See? Come on.
So
Popeyes is my spirit animal. But no.
I'm not against it.
We wish you nothing but the best, brother. More continued success. We're all going to be watching you. We're all going to be pulling for you. And thank you again from the bottom of all of our hearts. Thanks for coming on tonight, brother.
You know what, you guys? Thank you. It was an honor, and let's do it again sometime. Okay.
We will.
Have you back for your next title?
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Yes.
Very soon, then.
I like that.
You're damn right.
Okay.
Very soon.
All right.
Hell yeah. Well, good, buddy.
I'm telling you,
Badass
man.
dude.
Like,
I tell you, and he's 100% exactly like that all the time.
Yeah.
Just seems like every time the guest
He is
signs off, we're
awesome.
always like, man, that was awesome. Like every time we're blown away.
every
by the
show, we're like,
person that's on
man,
here.
you know? Yeah.
Like,
no-
man,
And we
that was
literally,
awesome.
like we always say, we learn something new
Every time.
every single time somebody comes on. When he sat there and he was saying he's on his first ever PBA show, leading a major nonetheless, and he figures out a way to go find a television set rather than watching the show live.
Man, what is he? Is he eating popcorn with his feet kicked up, like pretending he's
Dude,
on the couch? Like, think
about how
that.
genius, how simple that is, but how genius that is.
I know. I
How
that's
many
what I'm saying.
times I sat here on this couch and watched a live show and said,
Oh,
God, if I were out there right
I
now,
would have done it or
if I was
something.
Nate Stubler, I probably would kick my feet a couple boards further right, or I would try and get it out to the rail a little bit quicker. You don't think that way if you're sitting there on the live set. You're sitting there on the live set and you're saying, I would assume, oh my God, 25 minutes until I'm
Coming
on.
up soon. The timer's going. Yeah, I better get loose. I hope I got the
crowd.
right ball.
You're not hearing the commentary that's going on. It's a totally different world, just sitting in a different spot. It's when he said
now
that,
is everyone going to do it? That's just it.
Made my brain
Everybody who sees
dance a
this is
little
like, did we
To
just
me,
out him for that?
To me, it just takes the nerves out of it. Like you're just watching bowling on TV like you do every Saturday morning, or like as a kid or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's you're right. It's next level, bro.
That was wild.
It's brilliant. And if everybody else that comes on TV after him sees this and does that, I'm just saying.
I'm honestly curious. Do people that's what I wasn't even joking. I was like, I wonder if people have done that and no one's ever said it. You're the first to say it, so he gets the credit for it. So,
I mean, he was real with everything.
That's wild.
Being concerned about what he was going to wear on TV because his oversized shirt from 15 years ago.
Because his Price is Right
Like
experience.
it's real.
It wasn't the fact that he won the car and the $40,000 gimmick. Like he's just that he's like, man, that shirt sucked.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. It's so good. It's so good.
JP Skyers wants to know if you're going to Clearwater.
Jeff, I was approved for some PTO, and I will be in Clearwater this year. So let's definitely hook up and let's go over some particulars about my trip down there. But yeah, I would like. I don't know how many more bowling tournaments my dad's going to compete in. I know that he's going to bowl Clearwater this year, and he's definitely going to bowl Bill Moore's tournament because it's his closest friend. But yeah, I have to at least make it down there and be. Not to mention, I miss that bowling center. I miss the people down there. But so I'll be down there. I believe it's May 17th through the 23rd are the dates that I selected to come.
Yes.
And I will be bringing my golf clubs and not my bowling balls.
Nico wants to know, do we have time for the imbecile of the week? We absolutely do, Nico. That's where we're going to wrap it up here. Let me hit the
This is actually more Rob's imbecile.
Oh, I'm going to light this fucking.
But we support Rob because Rob's awesome.
I love you.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the imbecile of the week.
Some people are really stupid.
Hold on. Before we get into the imbecile of the week, PD's in the house. Patrick, dude, we got to have you on the show one of these days too. Hell of a run during the Masters last week. We're sorry you didn't get your first title, but dude, class act. I enjoyed watching you on Bold TV all week, and I really hope you have a continued great season because you really bowled your ass off.
Patrick, I second that, dude. We had mentioned your name earlier in the show and gave you your kudos on an absolutely epic weekend. You are definitely the player, man, that is always there in the big ones, especially. I mean, Parma, Ohio is lucky to have you. So we're looking forward to seeing you get your first win very, very soon, followed up by your presence here on our show.
Ocho and his biceps approve of all this message.
Excellent. Excellent.
So moving on to business, if you will. I had posted on Monday in various Facebook groups DeeRonn's appearance on this show that was upcoming. And one of the groups, not only because some of the groups need admins or administrators to approve the post, just in case it's controversial or it's a bot or whatever, which is fine. So I tried posting in the USBC Bowlers discussion forum, which they have 34,000 members. I'm thinking, great. What a cool platform to be able to get people to watch our show with the Masters champion. Well, not only did they not put up my post, which is all they really had to do, the one admin that's left, and shout out to Jerry Kessler, who started the group, who messaged me and said that it wasn't him. And there is only one admin left, and that admin could have just denied my post and moved on. He suspended me. He put me in a fucking corner in timeout for like 4 days just because I posted, we're welcoming the 2024 USBC Masters champion on our show. That person, I found out, thanks to Wriggles and several other members, is Tim Buck. Tim Buck, you dumb son of a bitch. Thanks for being a douchebag, because there was other people in the running for this week. Lots of people in the running for Imbecile of the Week. But you are far ahead of the rest of them. You were the absolute front runner for the Imbecile of the Week. I wish I had I wish we could just change the subject, the name of the segment.
The Buck of the Week.
The Fuckstick of the Week, because that's exactly what you are. And, God, I'm trying not to cuss anymore. I got a 6-year-old. She's probably going to listen to this or watch this one day. And it's not the legacy I want to leave behind, but
Buck, Bo, Buck, banana, fana, foe.
Go on, Robert.
Fuck Tim Buck and the fucking horse he rode in on.
He rides horses?
He might. I don't know. If he's never mind. I'm not going to go there. Dude, you could have just denied my post, but instead you want to be an asshole and you suspend me and put me in timeout like I'm a fucking toddler because I want to promote my show with the fucking recent champion, though, just on TV in a sport that you're supposed to fucking love, you dickwad.
You would think 34,000 members of the USBC Bowlers discussion forum, maybe
You'd like to hear from the champ.
17,000 of them would like to hear from the USBC Masters champion. Good job, Tim Buck. You're right up there with Joe Buck.
I don't know.
We don't like Joe Buck?
I don't mind him, but a lot of people hate him.
Oh.
So I was just feeding on the Buck.
All right, right on. No, I'm out of the loop, man.
As Chuck
Dr.
says,
Ocho.
fuck him and Doc Sullivan. Yeah, that's right. I mean, Doc, you're not getting off the list either, brother. Like, just
and they'll probably the same Bucko will probably come back and say it's in our bylaws that say you're not allowed to promote anything that. But it's like,
and I'm sure it is, but
promoting the USBC champion.
Yeah,
and doubles Eagle winner at the USBC Open Championships last year. I'm not sitting here saying, guys, if you want free Popeyes, check out Manscaped
Rob
or visit our show.
Check out my Facebook page. No.
We're promoting the sport on the sports discussion forum. Fucking assholes.
It's called the USBC Masters.
Paul McGlynn's comment about Joe Buck since I brought up Joe Buck.
Read my. It was shit. I thought Joe Buck was bad. Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. Is a lot of people hate Joe Buck, so I was just adding Tim into the Buck.
Sure.
Yeah.
Should we call it the Buck of the Week from now on? Then,
or like pass the buck.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I see what you did. That's pretty smart. Marketing. It's all about marketing, John.
Anyway,
Fucking Stan's here again. Stan's trying to get out of shit. Oh,
Christ. On my friend and the entire sport in general. So go for
it. Good job. You suck.
Yeah. Unless he's one of the guys that wants to keep his footprint on it and say, like, well, maybe we'll just keep complaining why it doesn't grow because of fucking fat asses like me. Sorry. Not me. Him.
Jay Blaze. No, we or Ja Blaze. Sorry.
You got a Pittsburgher in the house?
We have not given
Jim's
the ball
gone
away
downtown to the glue.
Johnny's working on that. Our contest is definitely over. We do have to pick a winner. We haven't done it yet. We're sorry. We've been a little bit busy talking to U.S. Masters champions, but I'm just fucking around. I'm just being a dick. All right.
Myron Cope, double yoy, and double yoy. Was that Rod Woodson who hit that ball like that?
I don't know what that means. Anyway,
that's Myron Cope. Everybody knows. Yins downtown will know who Myron Cope is.
My beautiful friend Johnny. Anything else before we wrap up this amazing show?
No, seriously. One more huge thank you to DeeRonn Booker for taking time out of his busy schedule after all that flight and nonsense and finally getting to Detroit to go and try and win another title. But just as everybody said in the chat throughout the entire show, pure class. The PBA is lucky to have him. I'm proud to call the 2024 USBC Masters champion a friend. And with somebody as even-keeled as DeeRonn already is, I can't wait to see the added confidence he has moving forward now. Knowing that not only can he lead a major, but perform like a champion in his first. So now he's got the residue of just pure awesomeness.
He's been there before now.
There is no, I missed that 9-pin, or there is no, oh shit, I big 4.
Because that's the stigma. The stigma was the missed the 50,000 or the missed 9-pin to get out of the PTQ. Now it's like, all right, motherfuckers, but just, you woke up the bear. Another
insightful evening with the PBA's newest champion. So couldn't be happier with the way tonight went. And I'm looking forward to enjoying my Sunday night, cuddled up with Evelyn and watching a new episode of Shogun.
Well,
Sunday. Wait, when?
It's my Sunday tonight.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Goddamn night.
I got used to saying that it's my Sunday because everybody that lives in Vegas always tells you when their weekend is by the day too. Today's my Friday.
That's true.
So
okay. That makes sense.
Me with my job, yes, this is still this is my Sunday night.
I looked at the calendar. I'm like, did we change days? I don't even fucking know. But so many invoices.
Daylight savings in the invoices.
Sunday.
Well, hey, thank you, Johnny, for making this happen tonight.
I just reached out, man. We have to just thank DeeRonn for that one. So,
well, the Petraglia name goes a long way. So,
well, I'm glad that it's
just
still,
like Nate.
I'm glad that I've done some good for some people in this world because they keep coming to our show, man. So we must be doing something right.
You would think. I enjoy it. I'm just, hey, dude, I'm here for the ride. However long this thing lasts, it's cool to be doing this every week with you guys. So I appreciate even Ocho. I appreciate Ocho for his contributions.
And the new mask is fire, dude.
It sucks. It sucks.
Good guys
between
wear
the white mask and the white headphones. I mean, that's solid. You look like
good guys wear white.
You almost look like the new Oregon Ducks helmet.
Almost. Well, he's got the O right. So, all right, guys. So thank you, everybody. We had 104 strong through the entire fucking show. I mean, that's just the drawing power. That's Belmo numbers that we had. I mean, DeeRonn's a draw, dude. It's not us. It's our guests. But another banger of a show. We'll be back next week for episode 112 of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good night, everybody. And fuck you, Doc Sullivan. I'm sorry. We're
and Tim Buck.
And Tim Buck. Fuck both of you. Good night, everybody. That's horrible.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightUp5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Radio Network.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.